You are watching Gadgets and Games. Curtis Anderson is your host today. So excited to be back in the driver's seat. And when I host Gadgets and Games, you know what that means. We go back to the 90s. We take a look at some classic Nintendo games. And today we take a look at Maniac Mansion. John Foster, first of all, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back at Gametraders doing another classic Nintendo review. I like when Sal's gone. I like the vibe coming back here and talking classic Nintendo. Did you miss me? It's been a year. We did this last summer.
Yeah, and the last time wasn't our classic games. So it's always like rife with nostalgia and memories when we're talking games with you, Curtis.
Yeah, I think we did Battletoads and Shadowgate last summer. And in the vein of Shadowgate, we're back here in the summer of 2011 with Maniac Mansion. I was impressed. You knew all about Maniac Mansion for Nintendo. You have your own copy of Maniac Mansion for Nintendo. So enlighten me. What do you know about Maniac Mansion? Why is that on your shelf at home?
Well, this is one of those games that, I mean, adventure games weren't really, it was basically text adventure games, almost filmed before they really took off with like their whole Monkey Island series, which was kind of their best adventure games out there. But they were just doing so much innovative things. They revolutionized and kind of coined the term cutscene, and they were just programmers with so much passion on like where games could go, you know, because there hadn't been much done yet. So games like these adventure games it's a new thing.
I was quite young when this game came out, and I remember it was so hit and miss. Some of my friends, I couldn't beg them to play it. It just wasn't fun for them, but it aged extremely well. I would say it was ahead of its time. That's kind of, when you look back and you read about how it's aged in the last 20 years, that's a common theme, is that it was definitely ahead of its time.
Yeah, the more it's became its own genre of like the whole point-and-click adventure game. Like I said, these guys were doing stuff that had never been done before, so you can see the passion of like this whole genre being built, and now it's an actual thing called the adventure game, like the original adventure game. And you know, they created their own kind of scripting language so that it'd be easy for them to create more adventure games down the road, right? So they were really trying to set the groundwork for this new type of game they were doing. And yeah, it's aged well because there's more games like it, I guess, now, and people have gotten used to what this type of game is. So scrutinized maybe back in the day for just the type of game it was. I think people really knew kind of a good game when they saw it. They could tell this one was going to be really good.
The thing that still blows my mind to this day is a Nintendo game that has multiple endings.
Yeah,
that by itself, you have your choice of 5 or 6 characters. They all interact with each other, and there's so many different ways to beat the game, but I have never actually beat the game. John Foster, have you wrapped this thing up?
I've never beaten this game.
Yeah,
I've never beaten Maniac Mansion. But the thing is, that's like when you're a kid renting games, I rarely finish the games, and especially like for kids especially, there's multiple ways to solve multiple puzzles in this game. You can die right off the bat, and there's just so much different characters that you can switch at any point in the game. There's like 7 characters in the game, and you can switch back and forth, and it's kind of hard. It's fun at first, but then you kind of realize like where is the end? What is the end? You know? So it's fun, and it's kind of going back now. You do realize that it was open-ended and replayable, and for games back in the day that might not have as much replayability, this one had so much kind of packed into it.
Yeah, it's a far cry from like the Super Contra. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many different characters that could do different things, and it was taken from the old Commodore 64.
Yeah.
And I read online there's all sorts of rumors that they had to like scale it down, that it was kind of a like 14A game at the time before they rated games. They had to like get rid of some nudity and some like bad words on the walls and stuff. Do you know if those still exist on the Commodore before it got taken down?
Well, I mean, there's even like a rumored NES port of, you know, the hidden NES port that still has all the non-censored one. But then I remember just doing some research where they said, you know, Nintendo had some weird criteria for letting stuff in. Like they still left that exploding hamster scene in the microwave. It's just like very graphic. Like it's literally a hamster's in a microwave. And then boom. Press the button, boom.
So that made it by, but all the other stuff didn't.
Yes, and yeah, there's again rumors of like what they were taking. A lot of it just seemed like it would easily be accepted by today's standards. Or just the odd humor, and like I would think you would have appreciated the writing, which is, you know, some like innuendos and stuff here and there. But yeah, so it was just video games didn't know how to I think, censor back in the day. But, you know, so they might censor weird parts here and there. But, you know, again, pushing boundaries, doing things that weren't done before,
Definitely.
have the game censor board. They don't know how to censor video games yet. So experiences like that kind of, again, just pave the way for games like Splatterhouse down the road, you know? But
Absolutely. I think we both agree this is a must play. Can you get it on any sort of online thing, download it these days? Is it available?
I mean, there's the classic virtualnes.com. I mean, that's completely legit, like NES Online. But I mean, really, it's not that expensive a game. I see it every now and then. I realized I hadn't seen it in a while when you brought in the cartridge today. I'm like, wow, I actually haven't seen it in a long time.
Lit up.
Yeah, it's got the cool cast of characters on the front. That's when they were doing actual like hand-drawn art on the front, and so much care went into it. But yeah, it's not actually. It might have been released on the Virtual Console. That actually I haven't fact-checked before I did this review, but this seems very possible. If not, we start a petition to get it on there. I say, but yeah,
Speaking of petitions, to finish this, is they made a family show about it. I don't know if that was.
Actually, yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah, and that show has been long erased. It's been buried. It was a bunch of people from SCTV. That was what they did after. They made like a Canadian sitcom. It was listed as one of the top 10 shows by Time Magazine for whatever year that was. I think it only did 2 or 3 seasons. It launched Kathleen Robertson's career, who went on to star in Beverly Hills 90210. But that show does not exist. Like, nobody talks about it. There's no clips of it anywhere on YouTube. It was never released on DVD or VHS. Like, it's been buried for some reason. So if anybody out there, you know, got any information on that, let us know. Because yeah, do you even remember the show? Well, it was loosely based on the game.
When I was just doing research beforehand, where it's like the logo, like, oh yeah, was there something? And it's like, I would have seen it because it was like very Canadian produced, but it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't know, it seems like the kind of thing that could be running in like Shaw TV reruns. Why not? Yeah. Hey, it's on local TV now.
We should be so lucky.
Yeah. But no, like I again though, it's kind of benchmark setting how if you got something based off a game, like a lot of stuff now, like you got Prince of Persia the movie and Chronicles of Riddick and all that, kind of doing movie spin-offs, game spin-offs. It was even happening back then for like a TV spin-off, so it's impressive, even as forgotten as it is. So it's like a very 90s look. This game was 1990, right at the beginning, setting benchmarks. So yeah.
There it is, definitely, John. Take a look. Whoops, sorry. Maniac Mansion. Play it. I broke your Nintendo. I'm as bad as Sal.
Not that bad. Nobody's that bad.